For over 100 years, the galaxy had been at war. The enemy was known as the Drexari Empire, a powerful race of machines and warriors, cold and silent, with no feelings, no kindness, and no mercy. They didn't negotiate. They only conquered. Their ships were fast, their weapons were deadly, and their armies were endless. The other species of the galaxy had joined together to stop them. This united force was called the Galactic Alliance. It included peaceful beings from hundreds of planets. They built fleets, formed armies, and shared knowledge. But it was not enough. Planet by planet, the Drexari pushed them back. Cities were turned to ashes. Space stations were lost, fleets were destroyed, and hope began to fade. At the center of the alliance was General Island Vora, a tall, graceful alien from the planet Zentaria. She had silver skin and calm blue eyes. Once, she had been proud. Her fleet had won many battles. But now, her heart was heavy with defeat. Most of her ships were gone. Her soldiers were tired. Her people had no safe home left. In the Great Council Hall, on a space station far from the front lines, the leaders of the Alliance gathered. The room was quiet, heavy with fear. "We have tried everything," said a relic commander. His voice clicked like insects. "And still, we lose." "They are too strong," added a soft-voiced being from the water world Nemia. "They learn fast. They do not fear pain or death." General Vora stood slowly. "There is one last option," she said. "One species we have never asked for help." The others looked at her, confused. "Who?" someone asked. "Humans," Vora replied. "From the planet Earth." The council chamber fell into silence. Then voices rose in protest. "They are too wild. They are not part of our alliance. They are too unpredictable." Vora raised her hand. "That may be true, but they are also brave, fast learners, skilled in war. And we have no more time. If the Drexari reach our core worlds, we are finished." Reluctantly, the council agreed. A message was sent to Earth. On Earth, a different kind of strength Earth had never been part of the galactic war. Humans had watched the conflict from afar. They were not invited to join the alliance. Some alien species thought humans were too young. Others thought they were dangerous. But now the alliance had no choice. The message arrived in the hands of President David Rourke, the leader of Earth. He was a former pilot, calm but strong, with gray hair and sharp eyes. He read the message in silence. Then he looked at his advisors. "They need help," he said. "They never helped us," one advisor replied. "They never trusted us." "That's true," Rourke nodded. "But we are not like them. We help those in need." He walked to the window, staring at the stars. "Prepare a team," he said. "Send our best." The arrival of the humans. 3 weeks later, a massive human starship arrived at the Alliance's main station. It was named the Resolute. Sleek, fast, and built for war, it carried 3,000 humans, soldiers, engineers, scientists, and pilots. Most were trained for battle. Some were trained to fix anything broken. Others were masters of stealth, hacking, and strategy. At the docking bay, General Vora waited with her officers. When the ship doors opened, Captain Elena Price stepped out first. She wore dark armor and walked with confidence. Her team followed, strong. Men and women, serious and ready. Beside her walked Sergeant Mason Hill, tall and broad-shouldered, a former Marine. He carried a sharp look in his eyes, but also a friendly smile. General Vora approached. "Welcome, humans," she said. Captain Price nodded. "We're ready to begin." The alien commanders watched from a distance. Some still didn't trust the humans. They whispered among themselves. Too few, too late, too human. But they were soon proven wrong. First mission, first shock. Just days after arriving, the humans received their first mission. A mining colony on the planet Threska was under attack. The Drexari had surrounded it. No one could get in. Every rescue attempt had failed. Captain Price studied the maps. "We'll go in silent," she said. "No big fleet, just a small team, quick and sharp." "That's madness," said one Alliance officer. "You'll be destroyed." Price just smiled. "We'll see." The mission began at night. Using stealth ships, Price and her team landed near the colony without being seen. They moved through the shadows, avoiding Drexari patrols. Then they launched a sudden, powerful attack from the inside. The Drexari were shocked. At the same time, human engineers hacked into the enemy's systems. Doors opened. Defense guns turned against the Drexari. The tide shifted fast. In just 4 hours, the colony was free. The news spread across the galaxy. Humans did the impossible. The Drexari were caught off guard. No one fights like humans. The Alliance begins to change. After the rescue, the Alliance began to see the humans differently. General Vora watched as Sergeant Mason trained her troops. He taught them how to fight up close, how to use their environment, how to keep going even when tired. "We're not machines," he said. "We fight because we care. We fight for our friends, for our homes, for each other." Vora saw something new in her soldiers. They moved faster. They trained harder. They believed again. She walked beside Captain Price one evening. "You have changed everything," Vora said. Price shook her head. "Not yet. But we will." A dangerous new enemy. But while the humans brought hope, the Drexari did not rest. They studied the new threat, they learned from their defeat, and they began to plan. Deep in the shadows of space, the Drexari commanders activated something hidden for years. Protocol Zero, a final weapon in case they ever faced true danger. A message was sent across the galaxy. The rescue of the mining colony on Threska changed everything. For the first time in many years, the Galactic Alliance won a battle. The news spread quickly across the stars. Aliens from every planet whispered the same words. The humans are different. Inside the Alliance Command Center, officers reviewed videos from the battle. They watched human soldiers move with speed and confidence. They saw Captain Elena Price lead her team straight into enemy lines, using tricks and tactics the Drexari never expected. They saw Sergeant Mason Hill train alien troops like he was building a new kind of army. General Aylin Vora stood at the center of it all. She had once been unsure about the humans, but now she believed in them. She had seen how they fight, not just with weapons, but with heart and teamwork. "The humans," she told the council, "are not like us, and that is exactly why we need them." The Drexari react. The Drexari Empire was not pleased. High above their war world, inside a cold and dark command ship, the Drexari leaders studied the humans. They had never faced soldiers like this before. The Drexari fought with logic, precision, and order. The humans fought with passion, creativity, and chaos. The Drexari war mind, a powerful AI known as Core Prime, made a decision. Humans are now priority threat 1. A new plan was made. A trap. The next mission. A risky move after the success. On Threska, the Alliance received a new emergency message. A trade station near the neutral zone had gone silent. It was called Dralos 9. The Alliance believed it had been attacked by the Drexari. Captain Elena Price read the message. "Too easy," she said. "They want us to come." General Vora agreed. "Then we must be ready." Together, humans and aliens formed a joint strike team. It included Captain Elena Price, leading strategy Sergeant Mason Hill, ground leader General Vora, command support Zentari sharpshooters, relic engineers, human drone pilots. They left aboard the Resolute, flying fast and silent toward Dralos 9. Into the trap as expected, Dralos 9 was under Drexari control. But something felt wrong. There were no guards at the main gate, no defense systems, no sign of life. "It's empty," said Mason, scanning the walls. Elena frowned. No, it's waiting. Suddenly, the trap was sprung. Energy fields rose around them. Dozens of Drexari ships appeared, hiding behind the station's dark side. Explosions lit the sky. Ambush, shouted a relic pilot. Inside the station, hidden doors opened. Drexari machines swarmed the halls. They attacked in waves, sharp, silent, and deadly. The team split up. Mason led a charge through the lower levels, trying to reach the control room. Elena and Vora stayed near the command deck, defending their soldiers. Humans fight back, even trapped. The humans didn't panic. Mason grabbed a fallen Relix blaster and shouted, "Follow me!" He led a group of alien fighters through narrow tunnels, planting explosives and using surprise attacks. He taught them how to fight dirty, rolling grenades under enemy legs, using lights to blind cameras, tricking Drexari bots into shooting each other. On the command deck, Elena used Earth's secret weapon, GhostNet, a digital warfare tool, built by humans. It hacked into the station's systems, turning Drexari defenses against their own machines. "We're not just fighters," Elena told Vora. "We're thinkers." In less than 2 hours, the tide had turned. The Drexari were forced to retreat. The humans had survived the trap and beaten it. The Alliance begins to change back at Alliance command. The Council gathered again. For the first time, their maps showed not only red, lost territory, but now small green zones where humans had fought and won. "We must learn from the humans," General Vora said, "not just their tools, their mindset." New training programs were started. Human soldiers began teaching alien forces how to think differently, how to be fast, flexible, and creative. Mason and his team became legends, training Relic scouts in jungle combat, showing Zentari how to build traps, teaching Nemeans to use human stealth armor in water attacks. "We fight smart," Mason would say. "Not big. A moment of rest." After many long weeks of battle, the Resolute returned to the orbit of a friendly planet. It was the first chance the team had to rest. Mason sat beside a small lake, watching stars reflect on the water. General Vora joined him. "You humans are not what I expected," she said. "What did you expect?" Mason asked. "Loud, reckless, dangerous," he smiled. "We're all those things, but we're also loyal, brave, and we never quit." Nearby, Captain Price stood on the bridge of the ship, reading a report from Earth. More troops were coming, more supplies, more help, but then a new message arrived, a dark warning. The message came from a small science ship near the edge of Drexari, space. The voice was broken, full of fear. "They're building something," the captain said. "A final weapon. A machine. The size of a moon. It's called Protocol Zero. If they lose, they will destroy everything." The screen went dark. Captain Price's hands tightened. "They're preparing for the end," she said. "They're willing to burn the whole galaxy if they can't win." Mason looked at her. "Then we can't let them lose slowly. We end this fast. The humans lead the way back at Alliance HQ. The Council was in chaos. They will destroy us all. We must hide." "No," General Vora said. "We fight, but this time we follow the humans." Eyes turned to Captain Price. "We don't have time for fear," she said. "We strike first. We hit hard, and we don't stop until the Drexari can't breathe." The room was silent. Then, one by one, alien commanders nodded. The humans were no longer outsiders. They were leaders now. The discovery of Protocol Zero shocked the entire Galactic Alliance. The message was clear. If the Drexari Empire lost the war, they would not surrender. They would activate their final plan, a massive device that could destroy entire star systems. They would take the galaxy down with them. Fear spread like fire. Some planets wanted to hide. Some wanted to make peace. But Earth's response was simple. We don't run. We stop them. The Alliance prepares. Inside the command room of the Resolute, Captain Elena Price stood at the center, studying a 3D map of Drexari space. General Island Vora and Sergeant Mason Hill stood beside her. "The enemy is building Protocol Zero here," Elena said, pointing to a red zone near the black hole known as the Maw. "It's hidden deep, protected by shields and Drexari fleets." "We need a strike team," Vora said. "Fast, smart, and brave." Mason nodded. "Then you want humans?" Vora smiled. "No, I want humans and aliens, together." Across the galaxy, ships began to move. Troops trained harder. The Alliance was no longer divided. Humans had changed them. The trap at Varnus 6 before they could attack the Protocol Zero site. The Alliance needed to clear the path. A small planet called Varnus 6 stood in the way. The Drexari had set up a command station there, guarding the warp routes. Captain Elena led the mission with 2 human cruisers and 4 alien ships. As soon as they arrived, they were attacked. Drexari ships swarmed them from behind the moon. It was another trap. "Fall back," shouted a Zentari pilot. "No," Elena said calmly. "Let them think they have us." She gave secret orders. The humans used GhostNet again. Within seconds, they hacked into the enemy's systems. Drexari ships began to spin out of control. Some fired at each other. Others shut down completely. At the same time, Mason and his team landed on the planet. They moved through underground tunnels, planting explosives and avoiding enemy drones. When they reached the command center, Mason smiled. Time to light the fire. With one push of a button, the station exploded. The path to Protocol Zero was open, the cost of victory. The mission was a success, but it came with pain. 3 ships were lost. 17 soldiers didn't make it back. At the funeral ceremony, General Vora spoke. "They fought not just to save their own people, but to save us all." Mason stood quietly, holding his helmet. His friend, Lieutenant Harris, had died saving. "Others during the escape? War always takes," Mason whispered, "but it also gave them something that day. Belief. The Alliance now believed they could win. New allies rise across the stars. New support came in. The Coroliths, once neutral, sent healing ships and supplies. The Dral, a race of strong warriors, offered ground forces trained by human marines. Even the cold and logical Valari shared data to help find weak points in Drexari defenses. Everything was coming together. For the first time in over a century, the galaxy was ready to fight as one. And at the center of it all were the humans. Training. The United Army Sergeant Mason took charge of building the first United Strike Team, humans and aliens fighting side by side. Training was hard. Many species had different ways of fighting. Some were slow but strong. Others were fast but fragile. Many had never used human weapons before. Mason was patient but tough. "Doesn't matter where you come from," he told them. "What matters is what you fight for." He taught them teamwork, trust, focus. In just 2 weeks, they became one unit, stronger together. Captain Elena's plan. Meanwhile, Elena worked on the master plan to stop Protocol Zero. "We'll need to split our forces," she said. "One team attacks the shield generator, another hits the defense fleet. A third lands near the weapon's core and disables it from inside." "It's dangerous," Vora said. "We could lose everything." "It's more dangerous if we wait," Elena replied. Vora nodded. "Then let's move." The final briefing on, the night before the mission, Elena gathered the team. They stood in a large hall. Humans, Zentari, Relic, Nemeans, and more. "I won't lie to you," Elena said. "This mission is hard. Some of us may not come back. But if we succeed, we save billions of lives. We stop the Drexari forever, and we show the galaxy what we can do, together." Silence filled the room. Then Mason stepped forward. "Let's finish this." The mission begins at dawn. The strike fleet jumped into Drexari space. Explosions lit up the stars. The battle had begun. Team Alpha hit the shield generator on Outpost Vega 12. Team Beta, led by Elena, fought through the Drexari defense fleet. Team Omega, led by Mason and Vora, landed near the weapon's core. The Drexari were ready, but so were the humans. Inside Protocol Zero, the core of Protocol. Zero was massive, like a small city inside a metal moon. Mason led his team through dark tunnels filled with traps and defense bots. They lost 2 soldiers early, but kept moving. Vora used a hacked Drexari map to guide them. At the main control chamber, they found the heart of the weapon, but a final guard stood in their way, a giant Drexari war machine with 6 arms and heavy armor. The fight was brutal. Mason was thrown across the room. Vora was pinned down, but a small relic soldier, barely taller than a child, crawled through a vent and disabled the machine's legs. Mason got up, grabbed a plasma rifle, and fired at the core. Boom. Lights flickered. The weapon shut down. Protocol Zero was offline. Victory. For now. The other teams had done their part. The shield was gone. The Drexari fleet was in retreat, and the weapon was no longer a threat. Back on the Resolute, Elena received the news. "It's done," Mason said over the comm. She closed her eyes for a moment, then smiled. "Well done." The destruction of Protocol Zero was a great victory. But it was not the end. Just 3 days after the mission, a hidden message was discovered inside the wreckage of the Drexari weapon. It was short, but terrifying. One was only the beginning. "Others will rise. Countdown has started." Captain Elena Price read the message again and again. "What does it mean?" asked General Island Vora. Elena looked at her. "It means the Drexari have more doomsday weapons, and they're ready to use them." The countdown. Begins Earth's best scientists decoded the message. It revealed shocking news. 5 more Protocol-class weapons were hidden across the galaxy. All of them were linked together. If even one was activated, it would trigger the others. And the timer had already started. 7 days left. Panic spread in the Alliance. 7 days was not enough to find and destroy 5 deadly weapons hidden in deep space. "Then we'll make it enough," Elena said. Operation Starfall A plan was made, a bold and risky one. Elena named it Operation Starfall. 5 strike teams would be sent to 5 different locations at the same time. Each team would include human and alien fighters. Each would carry special equipment to detect and disable the hidden weapons. The teams, Team Echo, led by Elena Price, heading to the icy moon Nirak 4 Team Thunder, led by Mason Hill, going to the desert world Kelros Prime Team Vortex, with Volari scientists and Nimian swimmers, to the ocean planet Theris Team Ember, moving through asteroid. Tunnels near the Red Sun Axstar Team Phantom, flying into deep space to follow energy trails beyond known maps. The whole galaxy watched. This was their final chance. Team Thunder lands on Kelros Prime. The sun on Kelros Prime was bright and cruel. The planet's surface burned during the day and froze at night. Mason and his team landed in the early morning. They wore heat-protective suits and carried mobile shields. The signal from the hidden weapon was weak, but real. It led them into a canyon filled with old Drexari structures. As they moved, robotic drones attacked. Mason shouted, "Stay low! Use the walls!" They fought for hours, crawling through narrow paths and climbing steep rocks. Finally, they reached the chamber. There. It was another Protocol-class weapon, still charging. Mason placed the EMP device near its core and activated it. Nothing happened. "The system blocked it," said a Zentari tech. Mason sighed. "Then we shut it down the hard way." He opened the panel and began pulling wires, following. Old Earth tricks. Beads of sweat rolled down his face. The timer showed 5 days, 13 hours. He looked up. "We need more time." Team Echo in the Ice Captain, Elena's team moved carefully across the frozen world of Nirok 4. The snowstorm made it hard to see, and the cold was deadly. They found a strange energy reading beneath a frozen lake. Using drills, they dug deep and discovered a metal door. Inside, they found a huge chamber, glowing blue with energy. The weapon was buried in ice, but it was alive. Elena called her engineer. "Can we disable it?" He shook his head. "Too deep, too cold. We'll need to melt the ice." "That could take hours," someone said. "We don't have hours," Elena replied. She turned on the ship's plasma thrusters and aimed them at the ice. The heat started to break through, but the noise called Drexari drones. They came from above, shooting down at them. "Defend the thrusters!" Elena shouted. The battle began in the snow, with fire and ice clashing in the storm. Team Vortex underwater battle on planet Theras. Team Vortex moved silently through dark water. Nemeans swam ahead using sonar. Valari scientists tracked the weapon's signal. They found it deep in a sea trench, guarded by shark-like Drexari bots. The team had to be quiet, moving through bubbles and seaweed. One small noise, and the bots woke up. A Nemean's tail hit a metal wall. The bots turned fast. The water turned red with laser lights. Fighting underwater was hard, but the team used smart tricks, hiding behind coral, confusing the bots with echo waves, and planting charges while swimming in loops. They reached the weapon just in time, but they couldn't disarm it. Instead, they froze it, locking it in place with extreme cold bombs that would stop it from connecting to the others. Time runs out back at Alliance Command. General Vora stared at the countdown. Days, 6 hours. Only 2 weapons had been stopped. 1 was still active. 2 were not yet found. The pressure was heavy. Leaders argued. Panic returned. Vora spoke calmly. "We put our trust in the humans. We will not lose hope now." The secret weapon, human AI on Earth, the smartest AI mind, named Athena, was connected to the Alliance grid. She used every satellite, every scan, every signal in the galaxy. Within hours, Athena found the 4th weapon, hidden inside a hollow asteroid that looked like space rock. Team Ember reached it just in time. The weapon was almost ready. The core was glowing red. Athena guided the team through each step to shut it down. And they did. Only 1 weapon remained. The final weapon. Where no map leads Team Phantom had followed the last energy trail into deep, dark space. No stars. No planets. Just blackness. They found something strange, a Drexari ship that had no crew, no power. But inside it, they found the last protocol device, floating, ready, ticking down. They couldn't disarm it. They couldn't shut it down, but they had one last choice. A human pilot, Lutner Arya Stone, took the weapon into her ship, flew far away into the void, and activated her jump drive, taking herself and the weapon into unknown space. Her last message: "I'm taking it far away. You'll be safe. Goodbye." The countdown stopped. The galaxy was saved. A moment of silence. When the news reached Alliance Command, no one spoke. The humans had done it again. They had risked everything, not just to win a war, but to save every life in the galaxy. General. Vora placed a star medal on the screen showing Lieutenant Arya's name. "She gave her life for all of us," she said. Mason looked out the window. "She's not gone. She's part of every star now." The galaxy was quiet. For the first time in more than 100 years, the Drexari Empire was defeated. Their weapons were destroyed. Their fleets were scattered. Their leaders had vanished into deep space, hiding in fear. The Galactic Alliance, once weak and broken, now stood tall, united, strong, and full of new hope. And at the heart of this change were the humans. A hero. Remembered, in a peaceful ceremony held in orbit above Earth, People from every species came together to honor Lieutenant Arya Stone, the pilot who sacrificed herself to save the galaxy. Her picture was placed on a tall memorial stone beside the flags of Earth and the Alliance. General Island Vora, standing beside Captain Elena Price and Sergeant Mason Hill, spoke to the crowd. She did not ask for reward or praise. She did not run from fear. She flew into darkness so that we could live in light. Many were silent. Some cried. Even the coldest alien eyes showed tears. She was human, Vora continued, and because of her, we now know what humans truly are. Peace talks begin. With the Drexari threat gone, the Alliance called for a major council meeting, this time on Earth. Leaders and officers from over 90 planets gathered in a great hall in New Geneva, a city rebuilt just for this purpose. President David Rourke, once a quiet voice in the background, now stood as one of the most respected leaders in the galaxy. He stepped up to the stage. "This war showed us something important," he said. "That peace does not come from power alone. It comes from unity, from standing together, even when it's hard." He paused, then smiled. "And from never giving up. Something humans know very well. A new Alliance Council, the old Galactic Council, was changed. It was slow and weak before, filled with fear and arguments. But now, a new council was created, with humans as full members. Captain Elena Price was chosen to represent Earth in the High Command. General Vora became head of military planning. Mason Hill was offered a position too, but he refused. "I've seen enough of war," he said. "I'd rather help rebuild." Instead, Mason took on a new role, training peacekeepers, teaching both humans and aliens how to protect, not destroy. Rebuilding the galaxy across space, the damage left by the Drexari was great. Planets were empty, cities were broken, children were orphaned. But the rebuilding had begun. Humans sent builders, doctors, and teachers to help. On the planet Zereth, where half the cities had been destroyed, a human engineer taught relic workers how to build solar farms. On Nemea, where Drexari weapons had poisoned the waters, human scientists worked with Nemeans to clean the oceans. Human children sent drawings and letters to alien orphans, saying things like, "You are not alone. We are friends now." Something new was growing, real peace. Mason's journey. Mason Hill traveled to many worlds after the war. He visited soldiers who once fought beside him. He trained young fighters not in war, but in defense and kindness. On one rocky moon, he met a young Drexari child, abandoned, afraid, and hiding in a cave. The child looked up at him with glowing yellow eyes. "You are human?" the child asked. "Yes," Mason said gently. "But I'm not your enemy." He gave the child food and a blanket. "We don't hurt children," Mason said. "We protect them." The child followed him. Later, others did too. Mason didn't just end a war, he helped begin healing. Elena's mission captain, Elena Price, now Commander Price, worked with the new council. But she never stayed far from the stars. She visited former battlefields, helped, planned new colonies, and made sure soldiers who served were cared for. She also started a new project, the Unity Fleet, a mix of human and alien ships that would patrol the galaxy, not for war, but for peace. "Let's make sure this never happens again," she said. The first Unity Fleet ship was named the Arya Stone, in honor of the lost hero. General Vora's message: General Vora returned to her home world of Zentaria after many years. She was no longer seen as a failed commander, but as a true hero. At a ceremony, she spoke to her people. "We once believed humans were dangerous, loud, wild, reckless," she said. "But we were wrong. They are brave, loyal, and full of something we almost forgot: hope." She paused. "They saved us, not just with weapons, but with their hearts. What the galaxy learned, books were written, songs were sung, statues were built. The war was remembered not just for the pain, but for what it taught the galaxy. That peace needs courage, that unity is stronger than fear, and that the species once called too emotional, too wild, were the ones who saved them all. At every space academy, a line from a human poem was placed on the walls. In our darkest hour, they came from the stars, not to rule us, but to stand beside us. A new generation. Years passed. Children who had never seen war now played together. Humans and aliens, learning side by side. On Earth, a little Zentari girl and a human boy sat in a classroom, reading stories about Captain Price and Sergeant Mason. "Do you think I can be a hero too?" the girl asked. The teacher smiled. "Anyone can be a hero no matter where they're from." The last message. One quiet evening, deep in space, a signal was picked up from an unknown location. It was weak and filled with static, but the voice was clear. "This is late to Arya Stone. I'm alive. I found a new galaxy. Safe, beautiful. I'll be waiting." The message repeated once, then faded. Elena stood on the bridge of the Unity Fleet's lead ship and smiled. "She did it," she whispered. Mason, standing beside her, looked at the stars. And so did we. The end.